Grill, where we serve up the freshest, most flavorful dishes on the beach. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, a great location, comfortable atmosphere, and happy hour from 3 to 7. Buy one, get one free, regular margaritas and 12-ounce house drafts. And you're going to love their lunch specials Monday through Friday from 11 to 3. Plus live music Wednesdays and Saturdays starting at 5:30. El Rodeo Tequila Bar and Grill, Thomas Drive across from the Navy base. And 10908 Front Beach Road.
At Brock Lawn and Pest Control, we're proud to be awarded the distinction of being Quality Pro certified.
Our technicians have passed rigorous training in eco-friendly application and prevention of pest treatments.
Part of the program is the practice of integrated pest management.
IPM's goal is to prevent pests from ever entering your home. It includes inspection, prevention, education, and, when necessary, application.
We're proud to be Quality Pro certified.
Brock Lawn and Pest Control, the standard and level of trust.
Get ready to discover new adventures this summer and hit the road in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia. Our SUV family is built for all-in adventures and endless possibilities. Stop by Bill Bird Kia today and test drive a new 2025 Kia Soul, Seltos, Sportage, Sorento, or Telluride. You'll find the perfect balance with comfort, safety, and technology. Now offering 1.9% APR up to 60 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento during the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event. Bill Bird Kia is the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. See us today at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. Enjoy the view this summer because the road is yours in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Sorento with $1,748 per 1,000 finance in 60 months. Qualities limited. Cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is the Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7725.
Mr. Rogers said, look for the helpers. You can always find people who are helping. Thank you to all the first responders who put their lives in danger to help us when my brothers and sisters and mom and dad and grandpa and grandma need them.
Thank you, first responders.
This is what I signed up for as a first responder. I am constantly worried about being exposed to this virus and potentially bringing it back to my home and my family. I'm going to continue going to work day in and day out and providing help to those that need it.
We look out for the helpers because they look out for us. Thank you, first responders. Thank you, first responders. Thank you, first responders. Love you.
Be safe, look after yourself, and look after one another. Thanks.
Learn how you can help first responders in your community by texting BRAVE to 24365.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WPLQ Port St. John. Powered by Panama City Toyota, ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the next evolution of sports talk radio. The biggest stories and the biggest reactions. From college to the pros. Interviews with the newsmakers, sports betting, your phone calls, and more. And now, we're taking the Inside Drive with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios on ESPN Northwest Florida.
And good Wednesday morning. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. 104.3 right here in Panama City and Panama City Beach and all the beautiful surrounding areas. You can follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All you got to do is search up ESPN Northwest Florida. Also, you can head over to TikTok and check out our Inside Drive TikTok page. I got to figure out a way to integrate that into the live streaming because you're seeing a lot more live streaming on the old TikTok nowadays, and would love to try to take a stab at figuring that one out. I'm sure if we're on Twitch, we can be on TikTok. I'm sure if there's a will, there is a way, especially with that gentleman behind the glass who seems to figure out everything when it comes to the radio world.
Have Liam and Ryan help you out with that one?
Yeah, Liam for sure. For sure.
I won't be able to do anything about it while we're Actually, why are we streaming on Twitch? I'll just take us off Twitch for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And then we'll figure out TikTok.
Yeah, I'll give you the credentials to get into that.
All right, perfect.
Yeah, we'll make this happen. Actually,
I'm a man on a mission now.
There you go. It was actually Keith Fleming who will be joining us at 12 today that brought up that idea yesterday because he was saying one of the other guys he does some podcasts with was streaming all his stuff on TikTok, and it was getting.
Is it called Tiki Live?
That I have no idea, but that doesn't sound too far off. Tiki Live.
I don't know if I'd click that link.
Well, it's not a link. This is like actually in our system.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
I would assume that, probably.
But it's not Tick Live. It's like Tiki. Like
like
Tiki.
T-I-K-I.
Yeah.
I probably would.
I just pronounced it as Tiki.
Gotcha. He made it work. He made it work, just like you'll probably try to figure that out. But yes, you can also, speaking of technology, download our free mobile app inside the Google Play or Apple Store. All you got to search there is 104.3 in those particular stores, and it'll pop right up. You can make it happen. You can take us anywhere you want to go and continue to listen to ESPN Northwest Florida. And you can also just tell Alexa, I guess, if you have one of the Android devices or have Alexa at your house, Alexa, open ESPN Northwest Florida. I know I don't have Alexa, so I can say that with confidence here. Ross, you might get yours turned on right there. But hey, it'll just prove that it works. I'm pretty sure you can ask Siri to do the same thing if you are an iPhone user. And I'm sure there's other ways to get it open as well. But again, free mobile app, 104.3 is all you got to search up. You can also head over to ESPNPC.com and sign up for Scorpion TV for a mere $41.99 a month. Over 5,000 streaming channels on demand, over 10,000 movies on demand, and you want to get that going ASAP as we are on the cusp of the NFL and college football season. College football kicks off in 58 days. 12 hours, 56 minutes, and 30 seconds and counting. And then, of course, the NFL season just a little bit longer than that. 70 days, 12 hours, 56 minutes, 20 seconds, and counting. Again, first day of the NFL season kicks off on Thursday, September 4th. And then week 0 starts on August 23rd, right here on ESPN.
And the Cleveland Browns have been officially eliminated from playoffs already.
Ooh, already. Hot take right there. I saw, I don't know if that was AI or not, but Deshaun Watson was doing some passes or something like that, but he was not hitting anybody. I think it might have just been a parody or some AI action there. Also want to let everybody know Golf Plus has moved to a new Facebook page. It's not Golf Plus PC Dothan and PCB anymore. It's just Golf Plus PCB. As Alan is, the Dothan store is no longer open. He is trying to sell that. I think he's got some interested buyers as well. If you know anybody that's wanting to buy a golf shop that has been around for 36-ish years, just check out Alan Watson. He can get you some more information. But yeah, go follow our studio sponsor. Their new Facebook page, just Golf Plus PCB. And again, retail, repair, club feeding, all those wonderful things right there at Golf Plus in the Edgewater Shopping Plaza right here in the backyard of Panama City Beach. So again, check out that new Facebook page, and of course, go check out Golf Plus PCB. All the great stuff, all the new stuff out there, all the new putters. I think he's even got lab putters. That's what everybody's using nowadays. That's what old Keegan used this past weekend to beat Tommy Fleetwood, who continues to be the bridesmaid and never the bride. We'll probably talk a little bit more about that when we have Keith Fleming joining us at 12 o'clock. We're going to dive into some fantasy football as well. It's kind of, about that time. We're getting close. Maybe preview some of the rookies that you got to keep your eyes out for. 11:20, we're going to do something a little fun. We did this last night on the show, the Two Off the Tee podcast, Keith and I. We're going to see if you guys can come up with what your script would be for your college football team this year and your NFL football team this year. If you were to dial it up, what would it be? And yeah, you could be as honest as you want, or you could be as far-fetched as you want. Whatever you would like to see, obviously, there from your college football team.
Titan's going undefeated and Alabama's going winless.
Ooh, there you go. I don't know if that's the script you'd want for Alabama, but
heck no, man. Could you imagine? I'm just kind of being funny about the paradox that would actually happen.
That would be absolutely wild. That is
the Titans are under construction. We learned that last night.
Yeah, under renovation. Yeah, dude. And then Christopher Multicante would be like a daggone prophet at that point. Cam Ford is the same, first NFL quarterback to go undefeated since. Shoot, who was it? Who was the quarterback of the Dolphins?
Bob Greasy. No, it was Greasy, wasn't it?
I think so.
The original, the first, the senior. Now,
Bob Greasy or Brian Greasy?
Brian's the son.
Yeah.
Brady, Is that undefeated all the way through, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Not just regular
that,
season.
That's not what Tom Brady and them did. That's about exactly what the Golden State Warriors did.
It's true.
With their, 73-9.
Tyree.
I was watching The Last Dance a little bit last night, the final episode.
Man,
it's such a good documentary.
It is. It is a really, really good documentary. And, that quarterback documentary is coming out here in a couple weeks. I think July 8th is what I said yesterday. But do want to give a quick shout out as well. He's a sponsor on the Coach James Hale Show. That is Dr. Ward. He was up in Omaha this past weekend. Him and his son Jackson. I think they had a baseball tournament as well. But he picked up this Coastal Carolina Chanticleer shirt for me. Picked up a Coastal Carolina Chanticleer hat for Liam. But the best part of it all is Jackson got a ball signed by 15 of the Coastal Carolina players for Liam, and he was amped up yesterday when he got that ball. So again, big shout out to Dr. Ward, a man of the people indeed, the Florida Gator, diehard, and obviously lots of great.
That's impressive to get 15 autographs on one baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. And Liam's obviously been watching a lot of the Coastal Carolina series with me all the way through. It was kind of a lot of fun. So he knows a lot of the players now, and he was pretty amped up and excited about getting that ball. BYU, Chef Ross, they're doing some pretty crazy things out there as far as getting big-time recruits. On the basketball side of things, they've got A.J. DiBanza, if I pronounce that correctly. He's the top prospect in high school basketball and chose BYU over Alabama, North Carolina, and Kansas. And you've also got Baba Aladutun, again, if I probably butchered that. He's the number one recruit in the 24/7 composite rankings. He's 6'9", 175, and going to be a powerhouse there in basketball. So BYU just continuing to do really well on the recruiting trail, not only in basketball, but also yesterday, I think it was yesterday that it broke that five-star quarterback, the number one prospect coming out of high school. What is his name? Ryder, it's a great name, Ryder Lyons, was committed to BYU and is a major recruiting win there for the Cougars. So BYU just making some stuff happen. What do you think it is that BYU's getting these big-time players? You think it's cash money?
Tax-free donations to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Yeah, there you go, too. There you go, too.
I don't know what
Gotta
it is
be
really,
money, right?
but there's some sort of monetary thing.
Yeah, but he's got to play a part in this, right? But at the same time, do we think it's bigger than what those players could have got elsewhere? Maybe it has to do with their faith, their belief.
That's true.
I heard a story about the basketball player. Well, one of them, I can't pronounce either of their names. I'm not going to try. Can't remember which
either
one
of them are tough.
He wanted to play for the exact coach who had the pipeline to the NBA.
Ah. Gotcha. All right, that makes sense. But yeah, I mean, you would think some of these other programs would be able to match that same thing. But David, that's a good point. Who was the quarterback for BYU last year? He was Jewish, and he had the Jewish nickname, and they made shirts about it.
BYU or whatever.
BYU. Yeah, absolutely. I forget his name. Yeah. That was because
BYU was I was riding with them.
Yeah,
I know.
They were hot for a while. They were like in the playoffs for a while.
Oh, did Kansas? What? Yeah, it was Kansas. Well, that's just the one where
that's the one that knocked him out of the.
Jake Ritzlaff.
Yeah, BYU works better.
Yeah, a lot easier to say in that one. So just wanted to mention, and I know most of this was from yesterday, but some big-time recruits that BYU is picking up, not only in football, but basketball as well. On the baseball side of things, we'll talk about some mock drafts, maybe go through the top 10 potential mock drafts that Bleacher Report was putting out. Still, like we were talking about before the show, still don't understand why they can't just get it all done in one night. And
well, especially the NBA draft. There's 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Total.
It used to be 7, before like 1986 or something like that?
Yeah.
Which was wild.
The NFL draft used to have like 20 rounds, too.
Man.
Because I think Mike Golick was drafted in the 17th round or something like that.
Jeez. Well, they condensed it, and obviously it's going a little bit faster now. But Braves got a nice win last night, 7-4 over the Mets. What, 6-0 against the Mets now this season, something like that? I think it was 5-0 going into last night's game, or maybe they were trying to make it 5-0.
No, make it 6-0. No. 5-0 last night. Tonight we'll be going for 6-0 because they swept in the previous series.
Gotcha. Well, they still got 2 more games in this 4-game series against the Mets. Same thing tonight, right after the afternoon underdogs. Coverage will start and jump right into the first pitch at 6:10 as we are your home for the Atlanta Braves right here on ESPN Northwest Florida. We appreciate Billberg Kia, PCB Hobby, Panama City Toyota, Hewitt Tire and Auto, and Hometown Towing to be able to bring you guys, the Atlanta Braves, all the games that aren't during the day and don't interfere with anything else that we've got going on.
Yeah, last night was nice to see that the offense, well, really just the middle of the lineup kind of taking care of business last night. And the bullpen, I mean, I don't want to say too many good things right now because they're just, well, yeah, it just feels like anytime I say something good about them, boom, they just turn it. And I know it has nothing to do with that. But tonight you got Didier Fuentes going again. So he's 20 years old. This is his second start. Last time was kind of an up and down type start. So we'll see how he goes up against Clay Holmes, who had a rough outing against the Braves last time as well. So, let's just, and the Mets didn't really get hurt last night because the Astros, in a great game, ended up beating the Phillies last night 1-0.
Yeah, so the Mets are still just a game and a half behind the division-leading Philadelphia Phillies. Chef Ross, there's a big pitching matchup coming up tonight, right?
There is.
Tell us a little bit about it.
It's actually this afternoon.
Oh, this afternoon. Thank you. A lot of good day games on today.
Let me get... So Paul Skeens versus the... Mizorowski for the Brewers. I don't know what to think. The Pirates have the best record on Wednesday. Today's Wednesday, so that's looking good. But the Pirates can't score runs for Paul Skeens, so that's kind of looking good for my Brewers.
Yeah.
So,
do you think there's any chance that the Pirates deal Skeens?
No.
Not this year.
Not this year.
They've already came out. Well, again, I guess that doesn't matter if they come out and say it or not. But, yeah, I don't think so. But, man, the way, like last night, O'Neal Cruz gets pulled because he doesn't run hard.
That was terrible.
About that, yep.
And
the fact that it's happening on the professional level is insanity.
I agree with that. I think that it also, man, see, here's the thing, bro, like the trickle-down effect, you know?
Yep.
And so if you're not going to be careful, now, it's no excuse for O'Neal Cruz. It's not an excuse for his laziness and forgetfulness.
Yeah.
However, when the organization is ran like this, like things are going to happen, man.
So,
and I hate that because I'm pulling for O'Neal Cruz.
They pulled him in the 7th inning last night, and he's in the lineup today. What kind of lesson did that teach him?
I think just the getting pulled has enough magnitude because nobody gets pulled in the majors. So I think that, I get what you're saying with like some punishment and stuff like that. Like if you're allowed to play the next game, what are we really holding you accountable for? But I think it's pretty embarrassing for a Major League Baseball player to get removed.
To hear him in the post game, he thought there was 2 outs, so the out at second would have been third. So that's why he says he laxed up. But
that's not an excuse, though. You're supposed to know how many outs there are. That's like fundamental Little League Baseball. You have to be aware of that stuff.
But if you're going to pull him from the game, you sit him the next day, especially when there's 162 games. One game really isn't going to matter in the long run, but it's going to affect his trajectory. Like when the Braves were struggling with Acuna and his hustle.
Yeah, but I mean, I think those also were just pulls. I can't remember exactly if he played them the next day or just pulled them in that game. But I get you. Also, O'Neal Cruz is a little bit more of a veteran at this point in his game than what he is a youngin. So if he goes to the manager and is like, listen, I know I'm wrong. And I don't blame you at all for pulling me, then you're acknowledging your mistake, right? And you're saying, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to move forward. Then they've got enough issues over there that if that's not a mountain, then don't make a mountain out of that molehill.
No, that's an excellent point. And, when you got the veteran guys that, that's like anything, just, admit you made a mistake and, move on, move forward. It's kind of how it goes in all walks of life.
Now, on the flip side, Ross, I will say that had he been left out of today's game, also cool.
Yeah. Nobody would have any, disagreements with that.
So the over-under is 6.5 on Hard Rock for this game.
Ooh, total.
It feels like I wish that I could take the under for the first 6-7 innings.
And then give it up.
Yep. Yeah. No. And whatever you do, David, just let me know. And I'll do the opposite.
Dude, it has been bad. It's been bad enough where it's like, all right, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be back football season.
Yeah, it's right around the corner. It is right around the corner, and really nice to know that because I think Hard Rock did it come back last fall, or was it 2 falls ago?
I want to say it was 2 falls ago.
I think you're right. I think because it had that 1 year, and then it got tied up in the courts for a while, and then it came back, and now it's locked into 2056 or something like that. If I guess you can have monopolies in the state of Florida or in the country. I thought that was illegal, but apparently not. But that's fine.
I guess technically the way that they look at it, maybe it's not necessarily a monopoly because of the availability of prize picks. So it's like, you can do it because, or it's not a monopoly, but they just have
more of a loophole than anything.
They just have to hold on this particular game, which is all of sports betting that doesn't come in the form of parlays.
But you also know with this much hype and the pitching duel, it's going to be like a 15-9 game.
It's usually the opposite effect. The old Murphy's Law comes into aspect. But your Atlanta Braves are 9.5 games back of the Philadelphia Phillies, and we're 37-41. So that's
for the Brewers today is the halfway point. So we're right around that 81 stretch for everybody.
So still got a whole half of the season there to make the comeback, and Philadelphia obviously year in and year out's right there at the top. New York Mets pull the Dodgers, and the Yankees kind of paid for their quote-unquote lineup, sitting there only a game and a half back right now.
And they're all struggling.
They are. Hopefully that keeps up. Chef Ross, any team that's leading their division that's surprising you right now? On the AL side, you got the Yankees, the Tigers, and the Astros. On the NL side, you got the Phillies, the Cubs, and the Dodgers.
Maybe the Astros. I really didn't pick them, but I can't remember who else I picked out of that AL West. Rangers probably would have been I would have thought they would have been a lot higher, but I haven't looked at standings in a while.
I don't think any division leaders necessarily surprised me. Maybe the Astros because of what they lost, but they also brought a lot back in, and so I just continue. I'm not going to continue.
They've always got a good farm system to just plug in too.
I think the most surprising. There's 2 surprising things to me in the American League, and one's a really good surprise. The other is kind of we've come to expect. First, the Tampa Bay Rays being in second, only 1 game behind the New York Yankees, just kind of wild.
Yeah.
And then secondly is the flip of the American League Central. Not the fact, obviously Detroit is crushing it, but Cleveland's now just 1 game above 500. The Royals are 3 games below 500. The Twins are 5 games, and all of these teams not too long ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, were above 500. So the flip that the Central's made.
The Twins had that 12, 13 game winning streak not that long ago too.
Yeah, and now they're on a 5-game losing streak. 1-9 in their last 10.
Yeah, that is not too good. And I guess what
you know who else is 1-9 in their last 10? The New York Mets. Holla.
Well, hopefully they're 0-10 after tonight in their last 10.
Hey, I'm not gonna get no, because they won't be because they got the win on Saturday against the Phillies. So
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, 1-9. That's we need more of that. The Phillies are 7-3 in their last 10, but that can change at any moment. They play Houston probably this afternoon. I'm guessing maybe tonight. I don't have that schedule right in front of me, but the baseball season about halfway through. When's the All-Star break? Coming up here pretty soon, right?
July 14th. Maybe that's the draft. So July. It's July 15th.
Mid-July.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
hottest time of the year.
Over under 20 wins for the Rockies by the All-Star break. They're at 18 right now.
Wait, over wins?
Wins. They're at 18 right now. Do they get to 20?
They need, well, you said over, so you need to get 3 more wins between now and the middle of July. Well, they've had 18.
They've had a good June.
18 wins. So, they're 5-5 in their last 10. So based off that, I'll say they get the over in that and get to at least 21 before the All-Star break.
And it wasn't that long ago. We were wondering if they get to 20 for the total.
Yeah, 61 losses.
I got to look at the schedule real quick before I say, because I know that they're playing the Dodgers right now. Then, so I'm not expecting much out of that.
Then the Brewers, and then it looks like the Astros,
and then the White Sox. So they'll get 3 in there.
Yeah, probably get them from the Sox.
I'm gonna say no.
Oh, I like it.
I'm gonna say.
I wish you could bet that. be fun.
Oh, that is so tough because Cincinnati, they're on the road at Cincinnati, on the road at Fenway, taking on the Red Sox. Their saving grace is winning one on the road at Milwaukee. I think they'll get swept by Houston, even though it's at the house. And then Chicago is like, are they going to win 2 games in that series?
I think they get 2 in Chicago, and then the third one is either at Boston or at Cincinnati.
On the 25th of June, it's Cowboy Hat Day versus the Dodgers. In case you guys were wondering,
there we go. I'll make sure to show up. That's for Colorado.
Yes.
All right.
Yep. When they play the Dodgers at home on the 25th.
Oh, that's today.
Yeah. Hey, today is Cowboy Hat Day.
I was gonna wear my cowboy hat, and now I can't.
Man. Yeah, Cowboy Hat Day. We're missing out on that.
Did you get the afternoon delight debrief about the Rockies fan that's suing the team because he got hit with a foul ball?
No, but maybe you can talk. We're going to do an afternoon delight debrief at 12:40 today. 12:40. You did it.
I did it when, while you were gone.
I did not hear about that. Did he? Is he progressing on it?
I haven't heard the latest.
Because they got warnings everywhere. But you can sue for anything in this day and age.
Part of the reason he's suing is the team's performance leads to not paying attention on the field.
Whew. It's all you got to do is get to a jury trial and convince them.
Yeah, apparently he was obstructed by some view in his luxury suite and got hit with a ball.
So he has a luxury suite for the Rockies. This guy's not the brightest bulb in the box, apparently. We do have to take a quick break. When we get back, we're going to talk some NBA draft, and then I'm going to ask these fine gentlemen what their script would be for the season coming up for their NFL and college football teams. You're listening to The Inside Drive on ESPN Northwest Florida. We'll be right back.
Atlanta Braves are back.
Here comes the throw. It's late. Braves win.
And ESPN Northwest Florida is your exclusive radio home for Braves country.
He just wrecked that thing. Straightaway center, a homer for Riley.
Sales, Strider, Acuna, Ozzie, Riley, Profar, and Coach Snitker lead a stellar lineup. Listen live nights and weekends on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good morning. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your weather forecast on this Wednesday. A likelihood of thunderstorms and some sun this afternoon and evening with a gentle breeze at 8 miles per hour coming out of the west-southwest and temps near 91. Tonight we will have a variety of partly cloudy skies and a likelihood of thunderstorms and be warm at 78. Numerous thunderstorms and moderate rain tomorrow and a high 87. This forecast is sponsored by Mid-South Lumber, the best little lumber yard in Panama City. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
With over 65 years of combined experience, Instant Replay Sports Cards is happy to help you take your collection to the next level. They carry all the new hobby boxes, signed memorabilia, and supplies. New and vintage cards and Pokemon. They sell and trade cards and are always looking to buy. They're an authorized source for Topps, Panini, Upper Deck, and Leaf cards. Instant Replay Sports Cards is open 7 days a week at 752 West 23rd Street, down from Academy Sports. It can always be reached at InstantReplaySportsCards.com.
Are you looking for a place to take a leak? Do you have a truck, tractor, or other hydraulic equipment leaking or not performing as it should? At Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, we can get you back to work. Do you have a busted or leaking hose? Hydraulic cylinder or pump needing repair? If competitive pricing and a quick turnaround are what matter to your business, come see us at Reliable Hydraulic Solutions. Or you can give us a call at 850-326-3000. Reliable Hydraulic Solutions, 6840 Highway 77 in Southport. The best place in town to take a leak.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. Live from the 19th hole.
I can't believe you're a professional golfer. I think you should be working at the snack bar.
It's the Inside Drive.
The price is wrong.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And welcome back. You're listening to The Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida. Sitting inside the Golf Plus PCB studios as it is just now Golf Plus PCB right here in our own backyard all the latest equipment, everything you could possibly need for your golf game, not just clubs, but apparel and accessories, all that good stuff. And Alan does a great job of finding really, really cool items for his golf shop. He's got custom putter head covers, custom driver head covers. I didn't really get a chance to talk much about Father's Day as I was out of town when that was all going down, but hopefully you went by Golf Plus PCB to pick up some gifts for the dad that is a golfer in your life. All right, let's talk about it real quick. Maybe go through the top 10 projections. This is the Bleacher Report mock draft for the NBA draft coming up tonight. I believe 7 o'clock here in our time zone, 8 p.m. Eastern time zone. Obviously, there's really no doubt to who's going number one in this draft to the Dallas Mavericks. Still bizarre because I think a 0.1% chance of getting the number one draft pick, and just magically that happens for the Dallas Mavericks. What do you guys honestly think about Cooper Flagg? Is he going to be a great NBA player? I mean, I know he's fantastic all around. He's getting some comparisons to Kawhi Leonard, Jalen Johnson, and Franz Wagner. But, you know, he's kind of not the big-time elite superstar. Maybe he is going to be. I don't know. But it's also a different scenario. Usually the number one draft pick goes to a team that is not very good. And obviously when the Mavericks get Kyrie Irving back and can kind of get going a little bit, it's a little different situation for most number one draft picks.
I think if Dallas is patient with him, he's going to be great. I say this because the kid just turned 18, so he has not grown into his body at all. So he won't be a toothpick on the court for the next 10, 15 years. He does have that Duke curse, though, of Zion and others. I think Jay Will was one of the top picks who got in the motorcycle accident that hurt his career. Yep. But I think if they can stay patient with him, he's going to grow into his body and become something above average and great.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he's one of those guys that kind of finds a way to score when he needs to. At least in college it was the case, and magically he'd just end up with 25 points and 13 boards, something like that. David, what do you think about Cooper Flagg in the NBA? Obviously, he's a very, very young guy. There was guys playing in the McDonald's All-American game for high school that were older than Cooper Flagg. So obviously he's very young to be going, but, you know, that was not the NBA not that long ago. LeBron, Kobe Bryant, these guys coming right out of high school going to the NBA.
He's obviously a great basketball player.
100%.
You know, and
all around for sure.
And even when he was 17 years old, he's in the gym with NBA players, impressing them. So I think that as far as what he brings to the floor, he's got what it takes. I'll also say this. I said Chet Holmgren and Victor Wembanyama were going to be busts. Now, the verdict is still out on Victor Wembanyama just because, and both of those guys had nothing to do with talent. Yeah. It had to do with fragility. Yeah. And Chet Holmgren's
already... That's a good word, fragility.
Chet Holmgren's already got his.
Yeah.
So I had to recant my statement yesterday on the Afternoon Underdogs. I apologize. Chet Holmgren was not a bust, and he was a huge role.
These are opinion-based shows.
Oh, yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. But I also want to call it, you know what I mean? I can't be like, oh, remember when I said that? And not remember, you know, calling right, calling wrong.
It's got to be both, yeah.
Exactly. So wrong on that one. Who knows about, and I want Wemby to be good. Cooper Flagg, I think, Chef Frost brought up a good point because of his age and everything, yes, but he hasn't filled into that body yet, and he doesn't look as, he's already bigger than Chet. Yep. You know what I mean? So I think there's that. Be patient with him. Let him grow in this offense. And here's the other thing. He's going to be able to learn from street clothes, which could be a good thing, which could be a bad thing. I don't think you'll pick up. The injuries aren't contagious, right?
True. Unless you're on the cover of Madden.
Yeah. Well, there you go. But even that, you know, like the percentage is a lot closer to even than it is to like it's an actual curse. But CMC was definitely cursed last year, right?
Yeah.
That has a little bit to do with Father Time as well. Yeah, so I'm excited about this, but yes, I'm not going to go into next year thinking, 18-year-old Cooper Flagg, or next year, later on here in October, that Cooper Flagg is going to just change the complexion. I think that there's still a lot of heartbreak around the city of Dallas, and as anyone's ever been through heartbreak takes a little bit of time to heal. Now, what heals the quickest? Winning.
Always. Winning heals everything. That is for sure. Probably just as much not in doubt is the second pick in the NBA draft as well, what most people are projecting, and that's Dylan Harper from Rutgers going to the San Antonio Spurs, which I think pairs well with Victor Wembanyama, which you were just saying there.
And De'Aaron Fox over there. I mean, in all reality, The Spurs have been building something for a little while now. You know, you talk about that patience aspect of it. Now, can they do it without Pop? And can they stay healthy?
That's my question for the Spurs is, for the first time in forever, they don't have Pops behind the bench.
Yeah.
But they still have Pops in the building.
He's in the building,
But it's the same parallel, if you want to look at it, to Alabama, right?
Yeah.
Because Saban's still in the building, but then last year, you know, at 9-4 wasn't what Alabama fans looked to. And Spurs fans kind of like that, but they haven't been winning.
I compare it more to the Miami Heat with Spoelstra and Riley.
Pat Riley?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's obviously same sport. Yeah, I would say.
Not only that, but same
comparison.
situation.
Yeah.
Riley's like, I don't know if Saban's like officially in the building or just hanging around the building, whereas Riley has an official role.
Right. Yeah, I mean, but I would say because of the health, all right, like that Pat Riley is going to be more hands-on than what Greg Popovich is going to be. So that's kind of where my parallel is with Saban, that yes, there's a title and whatnot. Saban doesn't have a title. He's just got an office in Bryant-Denny overlooking the stadium, which, title or not,
yeah,
like it is what it is.
The same office with the automatic doors?
I don't think he's, because that's DeBoer's office now. Yeah.
Where the draft starts to get a little questionable is with that third pick with the Philadelphia 76ers. Are they going to take Baylor shooting guard VJ Edgecombe, or are they going to look to somebody else like maybe Con Knippel, who is probably the best shooter in the top 10 for the draft? And just
that Tennessee, where's Knippel from?
Duke.
Okay.
Yep. But so they've got, this is again Bleacher Report's mock draft. They got VJ Edgecombe going to the Philadelphia 76ers, followed by Con Knippel going to the Charlotte Hornets as a strong forward. Number 5 pick, the Utah Jazz. Go ahead, Chef Ross.
I've got ESPN up, and that's what Shams has.
I trust him probably more than anybody. Utah Jazz taking Jeremiah Fears from Oklahoma. He's a point guard and a shooting guard. Number 6, Washington Wizards take Ace Bailey from Rutgers.
That's a name.
Yes, that's a great name.
Yeah, I think you said name right there, and it just kind of stuck out to me. This is why even one and done shouldn't be so prevalent in college football, in college basketball. I don't know how many of these guys that we're talking about are one and done, but I wish that we were getting more familiar with their names and where they played at in college basketball, and then being able to follow them in the NBA.
Who do you want to take your last shot other than Ace?
Yeah.
Ace Bailey.
I'd probably rather have him playing golf.
And what's crazy is you've got him and the other guy, I forget his name again, I got to go up to it, Dylan Harper and him were both on the same team, both 18, or Dylan Harper's 19, Ace Bailey is 18. Both of those guys were on Rutgers, and they almost didn't make the Big Ten tournament.
They struggled.
Yeah, I mean, and again, they're just two players on a team where you got to have depth and all that in college. But
but when you got
two guys going in the top 10 of that respective NBA draft is pretty wild. I think they were under 500 and barely made the Big Ten conference.
Well, they had a lot of coaching drama, didn't they?
Yeah.
You've already mentioned 2 Duke players as well,
but,
right? But look where exactly. Well, that's
look
exactly
where Duke ended up.
That's what I'm exactly.
They
what
got
I'm saying.
chomped there in the national championship. Number 7, the New Orleans Pelicans. Another Duke player, Kaman Malak. He's a center, big fella. You remember him from the tournament. He is 7'1", but has a 7'7" wingspan and a 9'6" standing reach. Obviously, his hands are awesome. He's a half a foot from the rim standing up. That's just some wild.
He gets on his tippy toes and touches the rim.
That's a different type of human being. That is for sure. That South Sudan part of the world seems to put out a lot of massive human beings that come over here to the States and play some basketball. Number 8, the Brooklyn Nets projected to take Trey Johnson. He's a shooting guard from Texas. And then number 9, the Toronto Raptors out of Radio Farm Ulm, which I'm guessing is overseas.
Germany.
Yes, Germany. He's a power forward. His name is Noah Esengu, if I pronounce that correctly. As you guys know, pronunciation's not my strong suit. And then number 10 in Bleacher Report's mock draft, they have the Phoenix Suns. That's a trade via the Rockets, taking Carter Bryant. He was a strong forward from Arizona.
Shams has you 10 for 10.
There you go. So maybe this Bleacher Report bleeds over from Shams.
Yeah, maybe it's just
the same. Let's see.
I'm going to change a couple words in the article.
Yeah,
and
Jonathan Wasserman apparently plagiarized Sharms' top 10, or he just completely agrees. But yeah, some cool stuff there. All right, let's see how fat. Well, we don't have to rush on this. If it bleeds over
take it to the next segment.
Yeah, we can take it over to the next segment. But Ross, who's your NFL football team?
Green Bay.
Green Bay, the Packers. All right.
It's like a nice little rivalry.
Yeah. No, I mean, we win more in the playoffs.
It's not a rivalry because we haven't beat them.
Yeah, that's true. That goes back a long ways, too.
I'm really thinking about the 90s.
Yeah. The Favre days.
Yep.
Absolutely. So what would be, if you had to come up with a script for the Green Bay Packers for this, and it can be as, outlandish as you want it to be. It doesn't have to be what you really think is going to happen, but if you wanted something to happen, what would be your script?
Obviously, the fairy tale script is bring Lombardi home.
Yes, of course.
But the legit script is get past that second round of the playoffs.
I like it. And what do they have to do to get both of those things in your mind? Who has to be the guy or the scenario for that?
Jordan Love needs to throw the ball to the team with his own colors.
That's fair.
Cut down the interceptions.
Yeah.
Hand the ball off.
Okay.
And figure out this defense. Figure out the defense.
Yeah, that's true. Tough division there for the Green Bay Packers. What about college football?
This is one I'm struggling with because it's Wisconsin.
Okay.
Wisconsin.
I don't know if I want them to suck really bad and finally fire Luke Fickell.
Go for that #1 draft pick. There you go.
That's what we should do. Have a draft for college football since
at the rate that it's going, that might not be a bad idea.
Yeah.
That'll cure the portal. Everybody gets drafted every year.
But that changes. It makes college football too much like the NFL at that point and doesn't give the kids the choice of what school they're going to.
I want them to win that lawsuit over Miami.
There you go. That's storybook, baby.
Yeah, it's your script. You can have it be whatever you want it to be.
So I'm torn. I'm not on the Fickell bandwagon. I haven't seen any sort of improvements at all in his 3 years. Like, nothing is saying this program is even pointed in any direction, let alone the right direction.
They're directionless, so to speak, right now.
But I'm a fan, so I want to see them win.
Yeah.
And I want to see them get to the Big Ten championship game.
No doubt. I like that. There's also a great documentary. Dave was talking about documentaries early on Jump Around and how it all came to be. And that's, if you don't know that story, I forget what the name of that documentary is, but it's probably just Jump Around. But yeah, a great documentary nonetheless. You want to take a stab, Dave, or do you want to kick it over to the next segment?
This is fun.
That clock on the wall is slow again.
Okay, yeah, well, no worries, and just go. It's your show. We're just living in it, baby. All right, so we'll start with the Tennessee Titans here, and I'll do a fairy tale and a reality.
I like that. 2 caveats.
I mean, isn't everybody's fairy tale the same?
I would think so. But the realistic side of things.
Yeah,
is
but like a fairy. See, that's the thing. It's like, yes. But the Packers have a legitimate reality in which they could win the Super Bowl, right? So, but it's also a fairy tale because I don't believe that they're a true contender. Like you said, your fairy tale, right, is them getting past the second round.
No, that's my reality.
Oh, that's your reality. Your fairy tale
is bringing Lombardi home.
That's fact. That's true. Well, but y'all are headed to the playoffs. We're right now, like, what are the Titans expected? So fairy tale is making the playoffs.
I like it.
If you're the Tennessee Titans, it's making the playoffs.
That's fairy tale and realistic.
It could be realistic, but fairy tale as from how last year went, because everything is up in the question mark of what Cam Ward's going to bring to the table. Everything that we're hearing, I'm not going to lie, is get me a little excited. But guess what? Last year, the Tennessee Titans started making moves that you felt like were progressive in the right direction, getting some weapons, the Calvin, second year of Calvin Ridley, but bringing in Tony Pollard. It's like, okay, well, we're not just sitting here playing dead, so I started getting excited around preseason. Then the first quarter of the first 3 quarters of the Chicago Bears game, I'm like, all right, we might be all right, Then reality just started shoving itself in my face.
Very ugly, reality
16
right after,
games.
Yep.
So with that being said,
that was a good rant there.
I'm
like
starting to get excited about Cam Ward, but there's still, it could slap me in the face like he's not as good as what he was advertised to be. So I'm holding out hope for that. Fairy tale for me is that reality is progress in the sense of the offensive line. Let me see less sacks. Let's see less turnovers. Let's play smart football. Let's win in the trenches and in a majority of the time. And let's finish 7-10.
Yeah.
If we finish 7-10, that's almost fairy tale-ish the way that I'm looking at what the reality of the season could be.
Meaningful games in December.
Yes.
Because 7-10 is going to be right on the cusp.
The culture needs to change. I need to see that Brian Callahan, you know what I mean? You can't just continue to pawn off, well, we didn't get the right quarterback. We didn't get the right. Yeah. This is your shot right here.
That excuse is gone.
That excuse is gone. Exactly. So let's see that the culture is starting to be what, when Vrabel was the Tennessee Titans head coach, there was culture there. But then once that culture started shifting away and they didn't know, who's got the responsibility or where did the responsibility line stop between Rand Carthon and Mike Vrabel. When that dispute started happening, Amy Adams did not grab control and there was still more argument. So the culture went away, or the culture went by the wayside. And now we're in the same position again where Brian Callahan and Barzoni, or whatever his name is, the new GM from the Chiefs, they've got to get on the same page and want the same things. Everyone wants the Super Bowl,
of course,
but there's the journey to the Super Bowl that guys have to get on the same page. Yeah. I mean, last dance of the Bulls, right? Going back to last night, Jerry Krause at the beginning of the season says it doesn't matter if Phil Jackson goes 82-0, this team's still breaking up at the end of the year.
Yeah, God, he was the worst. And I love how in Space Jam they made the commissioner of that league exactly like Krause. And I didn't realize that when I was a kid watching that because I wasn't, in tune with everything quite yet. But great stuff there. We'll take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get David's for Alabama, and then of course I've got mine for the Niners and the Auburn Tigers.
Have you ever wanted to reach out and smack someone?
Sit your ass down and shut up!
Call or text the Afternoon Underdogs on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida with your rants, hot takes, picks, and takedowns.
This is unacceptable at the University of Alabama!
This could go 7 games. You've got to have a bad game at some point.
The Red 70s studio line, 850-215-6290. ESPN Northwest Florida. Get in the game.
Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, where the locals go for the best boiled seafood around. Crawfish, shrimp, red royals, and everything crabs. Watch almost every sporting event in the country on their huge outdoor jumbotron. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on weekly events, live music, and food and beer specials. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, your home away from home for sports, good times, and great food. The best boiled seafood. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City.
Celebrate Independence Day with savings that make a difference at the Humane Society's Thrift and Gift Store. June 28th through July 5th. Enjoy up to 60% off all furniture, 40% off all home decor, 50% off select electronics, and more. Every deal helps the rebuild of Bay County's only no-kill shelter. So when you shop, you're giving back. Shop smart and support a great cause. Only at the Humane Society's Thrift and Gift Store, where secondhand shopping saves lives.
Is your restaurant looking a little tired from the long off season? Is your office a little offish? Start the new year off right by giving them a fresh start. Fresh Start Cleaning is now accepting new clients. Ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services. Fresh Start Cleaning. Get clean again with Fresh Start. Call 850-771-6917, 771-6917, and ask about their complimentary hood cleaning services.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. This is where heroes are created, legends are born, and dynasties forged. The Sports Talk Monster, ESPN Northwest Florida. Now back to Ryan Mulvey and the Inside Drive.
Kind of just want to let it go. It's very upbeat, get you moving. I feel like I'm about to do a Zumba class. Not that I've ever done a Zumba class, but I feel like this is how a Zumba class would start anyway.
Ride your bike, ride your bike, ride your bike.
That's a spin class. Zumba's where you're like dancing and working out,
okay.
I guess. Again, I've never done a Zumba class.
I do the Roomba class where I just get on top of the vacuum and say, go!
And you just move very slowly about the room. This song probably wouldn't do so well for that one.
No.
But you are, in fact, listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN at Northwest Florida. We got Keith Fleming coming up at the top of the hour. We're going to be talking. So I got some questions for him about golf. Got questions for him, too, from one of our listeners about the Kristaps Porzingis trade to the Atlanta Falcons.
That's a good trade.
Yeah, that'd be good. He might not be a bad tight end in the league. But anyway, I want to ask him about that. And then, of course, he's going to go through all of our DFS plays and betting card plays for the Rocket Mortgage Classic up there at the Detroit Golf Club. But we got to continue with our scripts. David Hayes, I'll let you jump into Alabama, unless you want to do a different college football team. But I figured you were sticking with Alabama.
I think, yeah, we can.
I think that's
we
fair.
can do that. Fairy tale is. I mean, that's as Sheriff Ross said, Lombardi. Like,
yeah.
Well, I don't think Bama's going to win the Lombardi.
No, I understand that, but I'm saying the fairy tale is winning the national championship. Fairy tale is doing it against. I don't want to see Ohio State back in it, so.
Michigan.
But I mean,
well, actually, Penn State's probably the class of the Big Ten this year.
Alabama and Penn State would be a fun national championship.
School national championship right there.
And I would like I hate when Penn State wears their white helmets with the blue numbers on the side.
Yeah,
you know,
it looks just like Bama.
Yeah. So I would love for the national championship to feature those two helmets. It would be fun. So yeah, that is when it, you know. But reality is they don't have a quarterback. Well, we don't know how Paul Tyson's going to do.
Yeah.
So, I say that every time. Ty Simpson. How Ty Simpson's going to do.
Paul Tyson. I like it.
Paul Tyson he used to play for Bama, but he was the great grandson of Bear Bryant, but he never really got any playing time. Right. Anyways, so Ty Simpson's supposed to be the guy, but then you got Keelan Russell. Keelan Russell also lost his twin earlier this year, like his sister, twin sister, losing her. So there's that heartbreak factor. Like, I mean, your first year in college football, I want to say I think he's from California, so you could see a world where maybe he transfers back closer to home.
Yeah.
You know, and I hate that, but also I understand that completely. So the reality, a good script for Bama this year would be beat Vanderbilt. No, I'm just kidding. It would be 10 wins, 2 losses. Looking at their schedule right here, Alabama, Florida State. I mean, at this point, if this team does not blow out Florida State, and it has nothing to do with the with Florida State going 2-10 last year. It has to do with the culture of Alabama, because Thomas Castellanos, what he said, if they don't go through, now it either means that Florida State's a really good team, but the old culture, you sit there and you say things that you ought not be saying. What did the old Alabama teams do? They would whoop you. You know what I'm saying? So that game needs, that's how you, that needs to start out with a blowout. Wisconsin win that game. You know,
that
now
should be a blowout.
Georgia, you know, that's the toss-up for sure. And
where's that game at?
In Athens, which bodes well for Georgia, but also Alabama's had some success there in Kirby's house. You get Vanderbilt at the house, Missouri, Tennessee at the, or Missouri's on the road, Tennessee at the house. Missouri's not going to be that good. Tennessee, question marks all over the place. Well, not all over the place, but specifically at quarterback, so they could absolutely beat them. So I'm looking at one toss-up to this point, but you can throw Tennessee into that mix because of the fact of the rivalry that it is. South Carolina on the road, they almost beat Alabama last year in Tuscaloosa. Lenore Sellers, one of the few, and this is back-to-back games now. You go Tennessee, then you go on the road to South Carolina, and then you get LSU at the house. Now, there is a bye week there, but 2 of those you have returning SEC quarterbacks. So that's going to be a tough little stretch right there. So I'm looking at 3 possibles. And then you've got to revenge Oklahoma. Eastern Illinois is a no-brainer. And then Alabama, Auburn, injured in hair. You never know. So I would say that 10, you can lose 2 of those games. Georgia and you can lose Georgia and you can lose either South Carolina or LSU. But outside of that, unless Auburn just is like a top 10 team, it should be 10-2 next year. Yeah. And depending on how the SEC plays out, SEC championship on the line. But who knows, because it's a tough conference.
No doubt. And, I'd say making the play, and, they'll make the playoff this year, I would assume, based on what you were just
If they go 10-2,
if they go 10-2,
likelihood.
yeah, absolutely.
Even 9-3, they're probably in.
They were there. That's what they were last year.
Yeah.
That's what they were last year, and the ACC has got to be better this year than what it was last year.
And this year they're what? They're taking the Power 4 conference winners get a playoff bid, but it's all based on straight ranking. On that last ranking before the college football playoff. So I think that bodes well for teams like Alabama.
It does, just because of the brand, but again, the thing that bothers me is not knowing what the quarterback position is going to be like.
It's the most ambiguous if that's the right word, most ambiguous quarterback room you guys have had in a long time, for my opinion.
And new offensive coordinator.
With y'all's 9-3 this year compared to the 9-3 last year, there's no, just going by off of the paper, there's no upset losses. There's no Vanderbilt loss that will kill you.
If we're going off the paper, and that's what derailed Alabama last year was Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, and the other one was Tennessee.
Yeah, Tennessee didn't really hurt because that was at Tennessee. It was a closest game.
Yeah. But the Vanderbilt one is like, all right, this is coming the week after you trounce Georgia.
There's nothing wrong with losing at Georgia. There's nothing wrong with losing to LSU, who's really talented.
Right. And South Carolina is another one of those teams.
Is phenomenal at home.
Because of the hype as well that they're bringing into the season, which could, be a negative factor.
Or they beat South Carolina and lose the Iron Bowl at Jordan-Hare. If that's a close game, that's not going to hurt them.
All right, let's go to yours.
All right, I'll start with the Auburn Tigers. See, I was thinking more like a headline kind of thing. So I kind of was in my head just firing off the hip. Hugh Freeze gets it right. Jackson Arnold leads Auburn to 10 wins and the first playoff berth in many years. That's kind of what I was, short. I like the discussion though, because the
discussion took us a lot longer.
It took some time, but I mean that's kind of where I would see, because I don't know if that's fantasy or that's just what the reality needs to be. For the Auburn Tigers this year, they've got more talent than they have on this roster, especially on the offense and defensive lines, than they've had in a long, long time. And Hugh Freeze brought Jackson Arnold in, and Hugh Freeze really hasn't had his quarterback, so to speak. I mean, obviously, Peyton Thorne was there when Hugh Freeze first got there, but Peyton Thorne was just never going to be the guy to lead Auburn back to where they needed to be. And I think they've got and they've got several quarterbacks now. I mean, if you can get Deuce Knight to hang around, and I don't know if he's going to get any action this year or not, but you've got you're finally building something. You've got a great wide receiver core. That's really been their biggest, to take a Keith Fleming word, bugaboo for the last several years, is they just haven't had a great wide receiver group. You saw it a little bit last year, but it just wasn't consistent enough. And I think a quarterback like Jackson Arnold, who didn't do anything spectacular at Oklahoma, but when you've got Brent Venables, who's a defensive-minded coach leading your team, you're always going to have, when you have a defensive-minded head coach, it's always going to kind of have a little bit of division between that coach and the quarterback, because they maybe just not see eye to eye, so to speak. So that's kind of where I see Auburn on what they have to do. I think it's realistic and it's fairy tale at the same time, but ever so important to Hugh Freeze's tenure there with Auburn. Because year 3 now for Hugh Freeze? Maybe 4? I don't know. It feels like...
It might be 4, but I think it's 3 because there was 2 years of Peyton Thorne, right?
Yes. Yeah, I think it's the 3rd year. I can look
but
that
still,
up.
It's do or die time.
Make or break now, especially with the money they've been given and the roster that he's built. So I think everything that he's wanted to be successful is now under his grasp. So now it's just time to execute on.
I'm looking forward to your next one.
The San Francisco 49ers?
Your reality with them.
Yes. Well, I've got more like my headline thing with them. Niners stay healthy, return to the NFC Championship game behind a new and improved Brock Purdy. Simple as that.
Okay.
Because last year, obviously they lost a lot of weapons, and I'm just so sick of the narrative that he's a dink and dunk quarterback. He's got all these weapons around him. Don't tell me any team that's won a Super Bowl doesn't have all these weapons around him. I mean, you could go back to Tom Brady and some of those teams, but he always had at least 2 guys that were spectacular.
But listen to that comparison, though.
Yeah, you're comparing
to Tom Brady. And what did people used to say about Tom Brady? He dinks and dunks. Guess what? He dinked and dunked himself yourself to Super Bowls.
6 Super Bowl championships.
Yeah.
With the New England Patriots.
2 more Super Bowl champions than any other team.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, so I get where you're coming from because it's like you're standing up for your guy, but I would welcome those. If they were saying that kind of stuff about Will Levis, if he was accomplishing those things, it's like, dude, yeah, okay, guess what? Like, cry about it, bro. Cry me a river because my team is doing what they're supposed to do.
Being a game manager is not a bad thing.
It's how you win games and how you win Super Bowls. And
when quarterbacks aren't game managers, they end up becoming game losers because they try to play hero.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good quote right there.
Hit
And
that
they have to play hero. They can't not.
Yeah.
Do you think that that gets Lamar a little bit?
I think that less and less and less because I think really since the new offensive coordinator has come over that they've really kind of like gauge the offense for him. He's gotten better at passing.
Yeah.
I mean, no, because last year it wasn't Lamar Jackson's fault that they lost. That ball was in the breadbasket of who? You brought him up yesterday, Mark Andrews.
Yep.
Then we don't know if
about that
if the
play.
Ravens could have beaten the Chiefs in the AFC Championship.
Because it never happened.
The MVP was Josh Allen, but Josh Allen Josh Allen is the quarterback.
Hero ball is,
he has to play,
Yeah, you're
or else
right.
the Bills ain't got a chance.
That would be a much better analogy for that.
But that's not a bad one with Lamar.
Yeah.
It's not a bad one.
More
but-
so in the past.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
they kind of switched roles.
Yeah, no, I agree. And the Ravens have really bolstered up their defense this offseason. Yeah. And, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait. Can't believe it's, 70 days, I think I said earlier.
Somewhere around there, baby.
70 days, 12 hours, 3 minutes, and 35 seconds, and counting.
Well, like we said yesterday, walking out to the car, this is after the show, but I remember last year on the Afternoon Underdogs when we got 99 days within, every day I was like, we're 98 or whatever,
Yeah.
and I would read off like a statistic. It was from CBS Sports. I had nothing to do with it, but I thought it was cool, and I remember just how fast that went, and it's like, hey, I haven't even thought about the fact that we're 100 days in, and we've only got 70-something left to go. Before you know it, it's going to be preseason, and August 23rd is when we're going to be holding the ESPN Northwest Florida Fantasy Draft, and it'll be over there, same place as last year, PCB Hobby.
In the evening?
Yes. Okay. Well, I still got to figure that out.
Okay.
The whole reason why I'm doing it is because that's the final day of, it's either going to be the 23rd or the 24th, which is Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
All right. And the whole point is, I would kind of like to do it during the day if possible, but we could do it in the night. That's the final day of preseason football.
Okay.
And yeah. But we would probably have to do it at night anyways.
Yeah, because they need to be closed. Yeah, because that's Liam's first tackle football game.
Then I know what I'm doing that day.
Yeah,
then
there you
and
go.
that's also going to be week 0.
Yeah, that's the first game.
So it'll have to be at night.
Yeah, there you go. Not that I was trying to force.
That's why it's Liam's first game. It's week 0 and he's playing.
Yeah,
That's
there
right.
you go.
That's right.
Hey,
QB1.
one day,
Can't
baby.
wait. Can't
You know
wait.
they're trying to move back I don't know why they say it like this, but week 0 is going to be the official start. Essentially saying that instead of having like week 1, all the big games will be on week 0. It's like, well, technically to all of us, we count week 0 as the start of college football.
Yeah.
But don't call the official. Just start.
Why
week
can't
1.
we just use week 1 for the first week of college football?
Let's use a number with a
Next
value.
year it's going to be week -1 starting college football.
I mean, that week's going to tear its Achilles tendon if it's not careful.
Are we playing golf with our football schedule now? Like, it's better.
So is week 0 Lee Corso's last game day, or is that week 1?
It'll be week 1 because it'll be
Bama and Florida State.
and
no,
it'll be,
he's at Ohio State.
Oh, is it gonna be? They're gonna. Oh yeah, Ohio
Because
State,
the headgear
Texas.
started at Ohio State.
Yeah. They should fly him down to Florida State.
For both, yeah. For
Because the
both.
Ohio State Texas game is going to be at 11 in the morning.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but there's only one college game day.
I understand that, Ross. I'm not talking about for college game day.
He can
I'm
just go
talking
down
about-
and put on the.
Exactly. Like
I'm sure he would put on Big Al. But
yeah, and then
you never
he
know.
could, and then he could fly wherever he's got to fly next. I mean, that's what he
right.
does,
And then
anyways.
he's just
right?
home.
Yeah.
He's just home. Absolutely. We got to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll be joined by Keith Fleming for all your DFS and betting card action for the Rocket Mortgage Classic.
Weather in the Panhandle never stops. return to 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida.
This is Joanna with your latest forecast.
Up to the minute weather reports all day long.
A chance of thunderstorms and moderate rain.
In-depth storm coverage.
Winter Storm Enzo.
And breaking weather as it happens.
Hurricane Helene.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
We do have a tropical storm warning.
Rely on it.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Wednesday. Possible thunderstorms and some sun the rest of the day with a gentle breeze around 8 miles per hour out of the west-southwest, and look for it to be 91. Tonight, there will be a mixture of partly cloudy skies and possible thunderstorms with a temperature reaching 78. Numerous thunderstorms and light sprinkles tomorrow with a high of 87. This weather is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Get ready to discover new adventures this summer and hit the road in a new 2025 Kia Telluride from Bill Bird Kia. Whether you're traveling on the highways or off-road, you'll do it with grace and grit. Now offering 3.9% APR for up to 48 months on the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Telluride. During the Kia Summer Sticker Sales Event, experience what everyone's talking about. Stop by for a test drive today and discover the perfect fit, featuring spacious 8-passenger seating, premium interior, and advanced safety and technology features. Bill Bird Kia, the home of that 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty. Stop by and see us at 2435 East 15th Street or anytime at BillBirdKiaPanamaCity.com. The road is yours this summer in a new Kia from Bill Bird Kia.
Offer from Kia Finance America for the purchase of a new 2025 Kia Telluride with $2,253 per $1,000 financed at 48 months. Quality limit cannot be combined with other finance offers. The 20-year, 200,000-mile warranty is a Bill Bird Kia warranty. See dealer for complete details. Offer for well-qualified buyers. Must take delivery from dealer stock through 7725.
WGSX Lynn Haven, WVLQ Port St. Joe. Powered by Panama City Toyota.
And that's out of the ballpark.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
Now back to the Inside Drive. Live and local from the Gulf Plus Studios. And now, the afternoon delight debrief with the three degenerates from the Inside Drive.
Afternoon delight.
ESPN Northwest Florida.
And we are back. You're listening to the Inside Drive live here on ESPN Northwest Florida, sitting inside the beautiful Golf Plus PCB studios, right there in the Edgewater Shopping Plaza. Repair, retail, and club fitting. The trifecta of things that you would need for your golf game and the golfers in your family. Not just clubs, but they got apparel and all sorts of awesome accessories as well. Check out Golf Plus PCB. And if you're in the market for a golf shop that you're looking to purchase, the Dothan store is currently for sale. I think there's a few buyers up there, but why not pick up a business that's been going on for 36 years? But there's only one place to go if you're looking for anything golf-wise. That is Golf Plus right here in PCB, and we appreciate Alan sponsoring our studio here on the Inside Drive.
Plus, when it's really hot on days like this, he has a golf simulator that's
air-conditioned. That's a great point, because it is like Hades out there right now with these temperatures and the heat index and all that wonderful stuff. You can also follow and watch on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. All you got to do is search up ESPN at Northwest Florida. We're working on the TikTok live stream. Keith gave us a great tip yesterday on the Two Off the Tee podcast, where I'm a co-host with Mr. Keith Fleming, even though he is the data guy, and I'm just the guy there to look pretty for everybody. But we want to bring him in now, and I'm going to start a little different on this show. I'm going to ask Keith a couple questions right off the bat. Keith, how are you doing today?
Hey, Ryan, man, what's going on?
Not too long ago we were talking, and it was a lot of fun there on the Two Off the Tee podcast. And I know yesterday you double dipped in the podcast world, and you were on the Divots and Pivots podcast right before that as well. So keep up the good work, my friend. And I know another big week is on the docket for you. You've been raking it in. Racking is not the right term there. Raking it in on the DFS action, and I'm just trying to follow in your footsteps. So Keith, do have a question from one of our listeners specifically for you, and it doesn't have to do with golf. One of our listeners, Steve, was asking what you thought of your Hawks picking up Kristaps Porzingis.
So it's so funny that the Hawks made this move, because I was just talking with a good buddy of mine earlier this week, who were both big NBA fans, and I felt like there was a unique opportunity right now in the Eastern Conference for next season.
No.
This does not happen often, but you got to assume Tatum is going to miss, if not all, most of next season. The Celtics are also selling off pieces, as we see. Halliburton, again, going to miss most of next season. And again, you would be crazy to doubt this Pacers team after what we've seen the last 3 months, but it's safe to say that that's the engine, right, of that team. You got Giannis's running mate, Dame, also Achilles injury. He's going to miss most, if not all, of next season. You've got the Cleveland Cavaliers, who won 60 games, but, I mean, are they really scaring anybody? They're not scaring me. And then the New York Knicks, who, I don't know, just when they seem like they have everything together, I'm okay with firing a coach who's had a lot of success if you think they need to go to the next level. It's shocking to see a team fire their coach and have no idea who they're going to hire. Like, what are you doing? So those are the best teams in the East, meaning that it is wide open. So when I saw the Hawks traded for Porzingis, I'm going, oh, my God, we're going to take that swing. And why shouldn't we? The last time there was kind of a vacuum like this was 2019, and we snuck our way into the Eastern Conference Finals. And this is a franchise that any Atlanta fans are well aware of. We've never been to an NBA Finals. So, yes, will we get to the NBA Finals and say everything goes great? We're probably going to go to the NBA Finals and then get trounced by a much better Western Conference team. Sure, but I would take that and be ecstatic about it as somebody who has never seen their team in an NBA Finals. And I think Porzingis is a perfect piece for what they've been building, because you got to remember, obviously, Trey is a liability on defense. There is no denying that. But he's also an unbelievable offensive playmaker. Well, now you're surrounding him with all these really good defensive players. Porzingis is a good defensive player. Okongwu, good defensive player. Dyson Daniels, defensive player of the year, right? Great defensive player. Risache, the kid they drafted last year, looked really good for a 19-year-old. I think he's going to make a big step this year. And then the big thing is getting Jalen Johnson back. I think that people do not understand that Jalen Johnson was on the verge of becoming like a top 25 player in the league and the best player on this Hawks team. No offense to Trae Young, because of all the things he could do before he got injured last season. So I'm ecstatic. Like, I think that this is something that should make the Hawks a real threat in the Eastern Conference. And I'm looking at like the Orlando Magic, who obviously made the trade for Desmond Bane. They're going to be much better. The Cavs will be back. And the Knicks obviously having their core still in place, just needing to get the coach right. But outside of that, all the other Eastern Conference quote-unquote favorites are going to be missing either their best player or their second best player for a majority of the season. So why not take a calculated risk, especially when Porzingis is on the final year of his contract? So it's not like we signed up for a guy who, yes, he's injury-riddled, but we're going to have to be paying him for years down the road. It's probably going to be a rental, one-year deal, and hopefully, in a perfect world, we get like what happened with Kawhi Leonard in Toronto, where they did the same thing, right, where they knew they were trading for a player for one season, everything fell right, and next thing you know, they won the title.
So, Keith, I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but Giannis hasn't committed back to the Bucks, so what if they move him to a different Eastern Conference team? Are you still super excited?
Oh, for sure. I think that Giannis would be crazy to leave Milwaukee right now, because I don't know where he would go in the East to get a better situation than he is in Milwaukee. And I'm surprised that more players from the West are not trying to get into the East. And, I'm one of those people that I think LeBron is unquestionably the second greatest basketball player of all time. In a lot of ways, he's 1B to Jordan's 1A. LeBron has always been very smart, especially, in that mid-2000s level where the West kept getting stronger and stronger.
And he stayed in the East.
And LeBron kept signing with the Cavs, right? Because he knew that, look, this is the best chance for me to get to the finals year in and year out. And I think there's opportunities for that. I mean, the Durant trade here recently is another example of, like, good for the Rockets, but I still don't think that makes them the best team in the West. I mean, you got the Spurs who are coming up. The Mavericks are going to be much better once they get Cooper Flag, AD, Kyrie. Obviously, you have, Jokic to deal with the Nuggets, Anthony Edwards and the team. I mean, the West is so ridiculously loaded right now. Luka with the Lakers. I would want to be in the Eastern Conference at all costs. I thought Giannis would get moved, but I think the Rockets were one of the few teams that had the bounty in the terms of young talent plus draft picks to be able to take him from the Bucks. And now that that's off the table with them getting Durant for really not giving up any guys, I don't think Giannis has anywhere to go. But don't get me wrong, I'm still scared of Giannis in the East because, as we saw in the Eastern Conference Finals the year that the Hawks got there, Giannis basically beat us by himself. So he is definitely that kind of player, but I would be staying in the East or trying to get to the East if I was a player unhappy with my situation was a superstar in the NBA right now.
Yeah, good stuff. But the East is just, we were talking about it with Doc A yesterday, the East is just so wide open going into next season. And now with this Porzingis trade prior to the Drew trade, it looks like the Celtics are going to maybe build around Derek White and just wait for Tatum to come back at some point. So I like what you were saying there. The Hawks, this is a year to, throw all your cards in there and try to make a move to get there with a good playoff push. Keith, a couple other...
And they didn't have to give up any real...
Yeah, no, they didn't at all.
It's a big deal. They didn't give up any of their future. So it's we're all in this year, but we still have the guys that we want moving forward, which that's why I love the deal.
Yeah, and there's not very often where you are excited about something that an Atlanta sports team is doing.
Amen to that, bro.
That is very refreshing.
Hey, the Braves are on a winning streak.
There you go. They haven't lost the Mets yet this year. That's a good thing. Keith, real quick, a couple questions before we dive into all your stuff. What do you think? Because this broke while I was gone, so I never had a chance to ask you about this. The PGA Tour has announced changes to the Tour Championship, and just want to get your thoughts on it, whether you thought it was going to get more viewership, whether it's better for golf or whatnot. The 72-hole winner will be, there's no starting strokes. So they used to do all these crazy point things, and then they moved to the, minus 10 if you were the FedEx Cup point leader, all the way down to even par. So that's not going to happen anymore. So the 72-hole winner of the Tour Championship will be the FedEx Cup champion. More challenging course setup to include more risk reward moments. Prize money distributed throughout the FedEx Cup playoffs instead of a $25 million purse at Eastlake. Defending champion Scottie Scheffler on the format changes. We want the Tour Championship to be the hardest tournament to qualify and for the FedEx Cup trophy to be the most difficult to win. Shifting the Tour Championship to more of a straight-up format with a tougher course setup makes it easier for fans to follow and provides a more challenging test for the players, which brings out the best competition. What are your thoughts on this? I've got one small thought, and then I'll let you run with it. It just seems like they're making it now so anybody who's in that final 30 can, win, and they may not have had the best season all year long, and you may have the best player not end up winning the Tour Championship. And maybe that's what they want, but Keith, what are your thoughts?
I'm never going to disagree with Scottie Scheffler because he is the person that is losing the most by this format change. If you look at the last few years, he's had a lead, I believe, 2 of the last 3 years going into it. I actually liked the format the way it was. I thought it was exciting. I understand how it was confusing to especially non-golf fans to be like, okay, wait a minute. Scheffler hasn't teed off and he's 10 under. What's going on here? I get that. That is confusing.
Yeah.
But I think it makes sense because you're kind of making it a fifth major this way in a lot of sense because, to your point, the people that win the majors every year, that may not be right, like the guy having the best year or playing the best golf at the time. It's just the person that puts it together for those 4 rounds. And all they're doing is everything is staying the same, where it's still the goal is just to get to Eastlake. Now with the added benefit is that if you get there, you're starting on equal footing with, the Scottie Schefflers and the best players on tour from that season. And I do think that it's going to make it, a little bit more of a prestigious event, and it should be. East Lake is one of the greatest golf courses in the world. Like, it is a true test. And even though I would argue if you look the way they were doing it, it's not like the person that started with the lead was winning each year. I think they had only actually won it twice in the 5 years that they had done it that way.
Yeah.
But, why not just open it up to all 30? This is something that, gives other guys who stuck around with the PGA Tour a chance to win life-changing money because, under the previous format, if you went in that 20 to 30 range, you pretty much were set with what you were going to win and where you could get, right? Like, you're not making up on 20 players 5 shots, and that's basically what you would have to do. I believe it was like the top 10 or top 20 or at least 3 under or better.
Yeah.
So they're starting with a 3 to 5 shot lead or more. So I'm okay with it. I just, again, the PGA Tour should not be so focused on this stuff and more focused on improving the product that you're viewing. This is my soapbox, but I can't believe they can't figure this out. We talked about it a little bit on the show last night. When Fleetwood was melting down, I thought it would have made a lot of sense to go into depth about the mental aspect of the game and how difficult it is to close a golf tournament and how, think about, you have never won a PGA Tour event, and now you pretty much know if you make par on this hole, you're going to at least get into a playoff, have a good chance to win it. And I think people that don't play the game don't understand how much that comes in on it. And also, it would have been a great moment to make Fleetwood a sympathetic figure. And I know that in some ways it did, but most people don't know about these golfers. They don't do a good job of letting us know who these players are. These guys are not wearing helmets. They're, obviously they're wearing hats and stuff, but I mean, this is, something where we see these guys all the time. And we talked about this on the previous show I was on last night, that if it's not for like stuff on YouTube and podcasts, if you don't see golfers in those settings, you think they're robots. They're not. They're human beings. Like, they're actually very interesting people that lead, very interesting lives. And the PGA Tour is not doing a good enough job selling that, in my opinion, to viewers. And if they think just changing a scoring setting is going to make viewership go way up, they got another thing coming. It's a bigger issue that they really want to grow ratings and grow the game as a sport that people watch.
Well, so my question real quick is, by taking the weight off of the rest of the FedEx Cup events, does that water them down at all?
You still have to qualify for the next event by being, I think they start with 75 now and then go to 50 and then go to the top 30. So you still have to
the money
make it.
Is huge.
Yeah,
man. Like, so
they're spreading it around big time now.
Is more than winning, like, say, any 2 events, including majors, during the season. And anybody who plays golf at their local club knows the more that golf bet goes up, the more interest that you have, or your attention, I guess you would say, in the bet. And I think even for these guys, who make obviously a great living, but when you can win like $10 million for winning an event, I think it's always going to be something that everybody there is like, hey, I'd like to, grab that bag.
Yeah, because I know that's why the PGA loaded up the FedEx Cup, is to make all the events matter by giving them the handicap into the next round or the next weekend.
Yeah, I mean, and I do like the portion where they're spreading all that huge purse around throughout the FedEx Cup, making it more, more pressure, more exciting, whatever you want to say, to actually just make the first event of the FedEx Cup, where it was really just so top heavy with the Tour Championship. And if you made it to that, then you had the opportunity to win those mega prizes. So I do like that. Kind of parlaying to what you were just saying with telling the stories of the guys, bringing, more personal touch to what the game's going on. What do you think about your favorite Jay Monahan? He is stepping down from his CEO role at the end of next year. He's been the commissioner since 2017 and will be replaced by Brian Rolap, who was a executive there with the NFL. What do you think about that move? I got to imagine you're excited about that.
It's way too late. He's the worst commissioner of any major sport I've ever seen. In the time that he was commissioner, the game of golf suffered, despite it being the biggest boom in recreational golf in 30 years.
Ever,
and that shows how inept he is, right? That, like, the game is growing as an activity, but yet the professional sport is still a mess. I'm so ready for him to leave. I think it's a great move to have somebody that's been an NFL exec. Obviously, they know what they're doing, right? Like, they understand how to make something must-see sports, and I hope that he changes a lot of the stuff in there. The biggest thing, though, that we know is coming down the line, and it's going to start to come to a head this week, is the first player ever to sign with LIV is actually in the PGA Tour event this week. Now, it's nobody, and that's no disrespect to him in the terms of, these big names that went to LIV, but that is coming because a lot of these guaranteed contracts are running out with the Brysons and those guys of the world, and the PGA Tour has got to decide because, yes, they need to get these guys back, but it has to be fair to the Rorys and the Schefflers and, even the lesser-named guys who stuck around and did not take the easy money because, Monahan said that if you leave, you're never coming back. We knew, though, at that moment that probably wasn't true.
Yeah, that was some hyperbole there for sure.
You stated that on the record, though, right? Like, that's on the record. You told these guys, like, if you leave, you may not play a major championship. You may never have access to the PGA Tour. So they have to make things right with the guys there. So I hope that that's a process that they involve the PGA Tour players who stayed and figuring out, okay, what is the avenue going to be for these guys to get back to the tour? Is it something where they pay a giant fine, right? And it goes into the player, retirement fund, or is it something where they have to go earn their card through the Corn Ferry? Like, there's got to be something to where these guys are not allowed to just waltz back in, because I would be livid if I was Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, or whatever, and this time, say in 2 years, Bryson DeChambeau is just back on tour like nothing ever happened.
That would be wild to see Bryson DeChambeau on the Corn Ferry Tour.
That'd be
right?
fun. That'd be fun. It'd get some viewership for the Corn Ferry Tour.
That's what I'm saying. I think it would be good for the PGA Tour and its feeder system, because it would show, like, hey, don't think that Bryson's just going to go down there and dominate. That's the other thing, is I don't think people realize that tour just below is really
They're just as good as the guys on the PGA Tour. They just haven't caught the break yet to make it to the PGA Tour. That's what's wild about Corn Ferry.
Is there any chance with the new commissioner that the merger actually happens, or is that dead in the water?
I think personally they got to figure out something. Whatever the path is, kind of like Keith was saying, is, I believe, up in the air. But they have to get some of these guys back on the PGA Tour. People are tired of the divide between the PGA Tour and the LIV Tour. And obviously the LIV is hanging in there simply because they have a lot of money keeping that tour going. But it hasn't caught on even close to what the PGA Tour is. So I just think that for the
that's why would the PGA Tour do a deal at this point? Like, I understand why the PGA Tour is basically like, all right, Saudis, you want to keep backing this? You want to give these guys another $200, $300 million? Go right ahead. Like, we survived. Like, has it hurt a little bit? Yes, but we're actually, viewership and stuff is up. So why? I think that at this point, I don't know why the PGA Tour would do a merger, because they have all the power and the leverage. And I think you're going to see these guys want to come back to the PGA Tour once their contracts have run up. There's been rumblings that, like, John Rahm, who is actually, I think, under contract for the longest of any of these guys, he's very unhappy. Like, they want to get back to competing. And I don't see why the PGA Tour now would give in, right? Like, and not to mention, we've seen any agreement would mean the LIV disbanding. From reports. Like, the PGA Tour is like, yeah, we could come up with a deal, but LIV Tour is done.
Throw them all in a 4-day event. Throw them all in there and take the top 100, and they all make it to the PGA Tour. Keith, we got to take a quick break. When we get back, we'll get into your official action for this week coming up at the Rocket Mortgage Classic. You're listening to Inside Drive on 104.3 here in Panama City and Panama City Beach.
ESPN Northwest Florida. It's the Coach James Hale Show.
All state, all this, all that, and we didn't even know. Did you have any idea? Hey, Coop, did you have any idea at all you had won all that stuff when you were in here? Were you not shocked, Coop? I mean, you.
Oh, I love it.
There you go. You love it. Okay.
True Gator.
Yeah.
Weekday morning 7 to 9. ESPN Northwest Florida.
Good afternoon. This is Joanna on ESPN Northwest Florida with your forecast on this Wednesday. Possible thunderstorms and some sun the rest of the day with a gentle breeze around 8 miles per hour out of the west-southwest, and look for it to be 91. Tonight, there will be a mixture of partly cloudy skies and possible thunderstorms with a temperature reaching 78. Numerous thunderstorms and light sprinkles tomorrow with a high of 87. This weather is brought to you by Earthworks of Northwest Florida. Thank you for tuning into ESPN Northwest Florida. Rely on it.
Tired of flipping through channels and finding nothing good? Introducing Scorpion TV. Over 5,000 live streaming channels. Catch every game of the season with over 100 sports networks, including ESPN, ESPN Plus, the NFL Network, and Red Zone. Even pay-per-view events. Watch 400 local network channels from Panama City and most markets throughout the country. Fox, ABC, CBS, and NBC. It's more than sports. Scorpion TV offers premium movie channels like HBO, Cinemax, Stars, 200 plus entertainment and news networks, or watch thousands of movies on demand, all for just $45 a month when you use the ESPN NW promo code at checkout. Watch on up to 5 devices at the same time. Perfect for sharing with family and friends. Scorpion TV gives you everything you want for less. Cut the cord, not the fun. To score Scorpion TV, go to ESPNPC.com and click on the Scorpion TV logo. Don't forget our promo code ESPN NW.
Broadcasting from the Gulf Plus studios, it's the Inside Drive. He has over 10 items in the express lane. He pays with checks and he doesn't return his shopping carts.
You have ruined groceries for me.
Now back to Ryan Mulvey and the Inside Drive. ESPN Northwest Florida. Not sorry.
For the record, I go out of my way to always return my shopping carts. And I don't even think I have checks anymore. But anyway, great promo to bring us back in. We got Keith Fleming on the line. You can follow him on Twitter/X. That's at KEITHFLEMMING. Also my co-host on the Two Off the Tee podcast. That is every Tuesday, for the most part, at 8 p.m. Central Time, 9 p.m. in the Eastern Time Zone. All right, Keith, Rocket Mortgage Classic coming up. Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy are not in the field, so we've got an opportunity to win some money, not only in DFS, always an opportunity there if you follow your instructions, but lots of options on the betting card this week. Let's dive into it.
Yeah, interesting that, did you know they changed the name of it? It's just a Rocket Classic now.
I'd be disappointed if I was Rocket Mortgage because, Rocket could be anything.
I'm sure that they had some kind of input on that.
I would think so.
I mean, it's like on the PGA website. Like I was
it's just the Rocket
tweeting
Classic.
out Rocket Mortgage, and then the editor of my article said, "Hey, it's Rocket Classic," and I go, "No, it's not." And I looked it up. And he's right. It is Rocket Classic. So interesting stuff. This is an event that has now been played on the PGA Tour at Detroit Golf Club for 6 seasons. It's the 7th one. First of all, kudos to the PGA Tour for figuring out June, July, staying in the Northeast. Probably a good idea, not being in the South and the West. If you're in Georgia today where it's 95 degrees, feeling like it's 115, it would not be fun to have a golf tournament down here. But this is an event that, if any indication from the previous 6 tournaments, it's going to be a birdie fest. And we've had some big-time winners here. Bryson has won here. Cam Davis has won twice here. This is the 11th easiest course on tour over the last 5 years. Very driver-heavy golf course. 77% of tee shots on par 4s and par 5s are with drivers. This is due to there not being any real substantial rough. There's basically no hazards to deal with off the tee, not a lot of trees and stuff. They're going to block you out. Unlike many courses that we've seen on tour recently, you're not going to have these 200-yard approaches and these 200-yard par 3s. Over 40% of the approaches this week, 50 to 150 yards. So as you can see just from these first two things, I'm looking for guys with driver distance this week. It doesn't really matter with accuracy. Wedge players is a huge deal, that 50 to 150 number, basically 40% of their approaches. And because of that, you see a lot of green and regulations, despite these being very small greens, over 72% of greens hit last year. And then the par 5s are going to come into play. Very rare that you see a quartet of par 5s that have a birdie or better number of 45%, but that's what they've been for the 6 years. So these guys are just destroying these par 5s. So you want to look into guys who play par 5s very well, particularly, again, that have distance off the tee. I'm thinking of guys like Jake Knapp, Cam Young. They feel like extreme values both on DraftKings and also on your betting cards because these are guys with just uber length off the tee. But if you look, both of them are actually top 20 putters in the world right now. And this is a course that despite these small greens, I guess because they're undulating, it is very difficult to gain strokes on the greens. The 10th hardest on tour, but despite that, 40% of the strokes gained total, meaning where guys are gaining strokes on this golf course, come on the greens. And because of that, I really leaned into players that are just good putters in general, that have distance, very good wedge players, dominate par 5s, and make a lot of birdies. The only exception, and again, this is, as Andrew pointed out last night, a decent exception every week, elite iron/elite, putters are a really good fit here as well.
The combination of both, right?
Exactly, yes, exactly. The stats that I leaned into, though, again, just to go over that, driving distance, strokes gained approach, par 5 scoring, that proximity from 50 to 150 yards, strokes gained putting on bent/Poana greens, that's what they're playing. Birdies are better gained/conversion rate. Strokes gained total, I looked on easy courses and, /easy scoring conditions, and then course and comp course history. Comp courses, there's some out there like TPC Twin Cities. Sedgefield Country Club is actually the one that I think is the closest comp that they play relatively, regularly, on an annual basis. But this week, I really have done something that I don't normally do. It is a very, very small pool of players, both for my DraftKings lineups and also my betting card. And if it's okay, Ryan, rather than giving a lineup, I was just going to kind of go over the guys that are in this core and the reason for them, at least for DraftKings, and then we can kind of go over some bets on the back end, if that's okay.
Yeah, Ross has got a real quick question for you, though.
So, Keith, if I'm looking at the ESPN headlines, it says Collin Morikawa seeks a new caddy after a second split of 25. When I go to my sporting bets here, Hard Rock, Collin Morikawa is the favorite. Is that something I should avoid because of the caddy split?
And not just because of the caddy split. Now, granted, he's had success at this venue. He's the best player in this field. There's no doubt. Like if you're just talking about from whether it be, how they've done this season, talent level, he is the best player in the field. But I think he's in a disadvantage. Collin is not somebody that has elite distance. So if his iron game and his putter is not hot, which it normally is, he's going to struggle. And he does not destroy par 5s either. So I don't really like him this week. And that's part of like getting into these cores. I don't like the top 4 guys, I believe it is, right? We talked about this last night, Ryan. You have, at least on DraftKings, You got Colin. You got Keegan Bradley, who this is a great course for Keegan, but come on, Keegan's probably going to be hungover at the start of around Thursday because he's still celebrating last week, so it would not be a surprise if he doesn't play, that great. And then who else is up there? There's Hideki, right? Or who's on
Cantley,
there,
I believe, is
Cantley and Benjamin.
the only other one that's more expensive than Ben Griffin.
I'm sorry. Cantley is the third one. And then you got into it. Ben Griffin is my most owned player this week. He is, I think, the best player in this field, and a real value at 22-1 and 9,800 on DraftKings. You can also get him 4-1 to top 5, which I think is great value as well. This is the guy that, we talked about, right? The combination of elite iron player, elite putter. Ben Griffin is that. He's top 35 in both strokes gained approach and putting. He hits as many greens in regulation as anybody on tour. He's 17th. I really love that he's 36 in par 5 scoring. That would put him, I think, at like 8th or 9th in the field in par 5 scoring. And then let's not forget that he's had success at this venue, 33rd or better in each of his 2 career starts here. But more importantly, he has been on fire since he had his eyes done. And we've seen this in other sports where they will have a procedure on their eyes, or I've had this before, like when I got my LASIK done, I was telling Ryan last night, I realized, man, I shouldn't have been driving at night, because you don't realize how blind or how bad the issues are until they're fixed, or for people that wear glasses until you get that new prescription, like, oh my God, I'd let that go a little bit. And since he's done that, he has had 5 events. You got 5 straight finishes of 14th or better, a win, a runner-up, and technically another win. I'm not including the team event, but he also had the team event in there that he won as well. So I just think he is a smash play. And so you can put Griffin in a category with 2 other guys that are above 8,800 for me this week, and it's Cam Young and Keith Mitchell. Cam Young is somebody who is still looking for that first PGA Tour win. Me and Ryan talked about this last night. I don't feel comfortable betting him to win yet. He's not. Until he gets over the finish line, I just can't be that guy. I love him, though, at 5-1 to top 5, and I love him for DraftKings because Cam Young hits it a mile with the driver and is 9th right now in putting. He is playing as good of golf as he has basically since about 2 years ago when it looked like he was going to be the next breakout star on the tour. And then he's had kind of a slump for about a year and a half, and he seems to be coming out of it. I think he's a great play. The only concern I have with Young, his wedge numbers are not very good this year, but historically they're great. And I do like the chances of somebody having a great week, for instance, like Cam Young, if we know it's been there, right? Even if he's struggling this season overall with those shots, historically he's been great at it. So the smallest thing can get it going, and he just eats par 5. So you have that advantage anyway. Keith Mitchell is just, to me, the best value on DraftKings this week at 8,800. This is a Keith Mitchell golf course. He's top 20 in driving distance. He hits it a freaking mile. He is top 10 in par 5 scoring. He makes birdies at one of the highest rates on tour, and he's very good from inside 100 yards. So I have a lot of lineups with either those 3 guys all in the lineup or 2 of those 3 guys. The only other person that is not in the 7K range that I'm using this week is Matthew Fitzpatrick. Fitzpatrick is probably a little bit of a risk because typically or historically he does best on difficult golf courses. This is not that. I said it's one of the easier courses on tour, but in such a weak field, you're getting him at 45-1 to win. 750 top 5, 360 top 10. He's in the mid 8K range for his DraftKings price, and he is really starting to get into form. He has had 7 straight finishes of 40th or better on tour. His numbers are really improving, specifically on approach. And the big thing is he has plenty of length off the tee. His issue is normally he sprays the driver. That's not an issue this week. There's very little rough. There's very little hazards. And then what I love about Fitzpatrick, one of the best guys on tour from 150 yards within. He's 11th from 75 to 100 yards, 28th from 1 to 125. 35th from 50 to 125. So I feel pretty good playing him as well in this group. So those are the 4 expensive guys. And most weeks, I'm recommending guys in like that 6K range. I love the 7K range so much this week. And the fact that the most expensive guy that I'm playing is 9,800, I can build lineups with going with nobody cheaper than 7,200. And there's basically 5 guys in that 7K or lower range. Stefan Yager is my favorite of them. He's 7,700. He's 70 to 1 to win. You can get him plus 240 at top 20. I think that is a very safe bet. He has history at this venue. He missed the cut last year, but 2 top 10s in previous years. He's got plenty of length off the tee, but more importantly, he is somebody very good on approach this year, 39th, very good in putting, 25th. He makes a ton of birdies, 13th in birdie or better percentage. And then when I say he's elite with his wedges, he is elite. 12th from inside 100 yards, 20th from 125 to 150, so you can sign him up. Taylor Moore is just below that at 7,600. He is the only guy in this field with 3 or more straight top 10 finishes at this venue. Every time he's played this venue, he's finished inside the top 10. He's top 20 in driver distance. He's somebody that plays par 5s very well. He's top 20 in par 5 scoring. And he is also a very good wedge player. If he putts well this week, because he has not putted well this season, I think he's going to score very well. Obviously, for a player to get back where he's finished no worse than 10th in 3 starts, I think that's going to be good vibes for him. And then again, there's just so many good options in this range. I love Emiliano Grillo. It's one of those guys I was talking about who elite wedge player, elite putter. He has quietly put together 4 straight finishes of 24th or better. This is a venue that I think he will do very well on. And if his irons get going, because again, he's a guy that from 150 in, he's like basically top 20 across the board in all distances. So I love that. Jake Knapp is another guy at 7,300 who just hits the ball a country mile. Is still one of the best putters on tour. He's top 25 this year in strokes gained putting, and he makes birdies at a top 10 rate on tour. He's only played this event once. Last year he finished 31st. I expect him to be in contention this week. Same thing for Lee Hodges at 7,200. He fits the bill across the board for what I want. He's top 50 in driver distance. He is somebody that is top 10 inside 100 yards. He's top 15 from 125 to 150 yards. He's somebody that makes a ton of birdies, and most importantly, first on tour in par 5 scoring. Like, he should feast on these very easy par 5s. So I think he is also a great value right there. And I'm really just mixing these 7, 8 guys together in as many combos as I can in my single entries. There is 2 flyers basically below 7K that I will just mention. The first is Sammy Valmecchia, who y'all know I have talked about him a lot this year. He has not played well the last 2 events he's played in, but those were long golf courses that penalized you if you missed the fairway. This is not a long course that doesn't penalize you even if you do miss the fairway. He's one of the best iron players on tour. He's one of the best putters on tour. I expect him to have a good week. And then Danny Walker, I believe, is 6,700. He fits the bill as much as any player in this field of like the model I'm looking for, because he's top 35 in driver distance. He's top 35 in par 5 scoring. He's top 35 in birdie or better percentage. He's top 35 from all the wedge numbers, that 50 to 150. Everything I'm looking for, he's there. So those are the 2 guys, if you want to get outside of that core that I'm using, I'm okay with. The issue is I don't know where to spend the extra money, because I don't think that Cantley, Bradley, and Colin are worth the extra 1,000. Yeah, I would rather play those guys in that 7K range than I would spend that money on those guys.
And this is kind of that week where you can kind of have a little bit more fun, so to speak, both on your DFS and your betting lineups, because you don't have Scheffler and you don't have McIlroy. Keith, if people want to find out the rest of the information for this tournament, where can they go?
If you just go to fantasy6pack.net, you can go /golf. I have my own page on there. Now, I will say that the betting cheat sheets, DFS cheat sheets, and my modules are now behind a paywall, but if you use the promo code F6P-PGA, it's $8.50 a month. That gives you access to all my cheat sheets at all time. That gives you access to the Fantasy Six Pack Discord, all the great fantasy football content. Like Joe Bond is a top 10 ranker in fantasy football. So, I mean, you get access to all this stuff. I promise you, it is worth it. It's well worth the money. If anybody has any problems or questions with that, don't ever hesitate to reach out on me to Twitter. That's at Keith Fleming. And when you do sign up, please do get me a message. I want to make sure we get you in the Discord and all the private chats, so that way you can have access to all this great information. Or if you just want to ask, the analysts on their questions about the particular sport, you can through Discord, and we all respond. So I think it's a great deal, and people should sign up for it.
Yeah, 100%. $8.50 a month. You're going to make that money way back if you just pay attention and listen to not only you, but all the experts there with Fantasy Six Pack. Keith, we appreciate your time as always. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and look forward to talking to you next week.
Absolutely, guys. Have a great day. David, you're the man, buddy.
Hey, so are you, brother. I'm just trying to follow in your footsteps.
There you go. You guys listen to the Inside Drive. We'll be back with a quick Afternoon Delight debrief. I'm going to change it up. We're going to do that on Wednesdays after Keith because we don't get to do it at 12. We'll be right back.
Celebrating 2 years of broadcasting history.
Told you this would work.
It's the Best of Pay awarded Inside Drive on 104.3 ESPN Northwest Florida. Weekdays 11 to 1 with Ryan Mulvey.
I love it.
Covering the biggest stories, breaking news, the latest trades, and taking your calls. The Inside Drive is live and local middays from the Gulf Plus studios.
Happy anniversary.
Becky was on roids.
On ESPN Northwest Florida.
Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, where the locals go for the best boiled seafood around. Crawfish, shrimp, red royals, and everything crabs. Watch almost every sporting event in the country on their huge outdoor jumbotron. Follow them on Facebook to stay up to date on weekly events, live music, and food and beer specials. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, your home away from home for sports, good times, and great food. The best boiled seafood. Lone Star Boil House and Sports Bar, 320 West 5th Street, downtown Panama City.
Wahoo's Express Car Wash is now open and proud to be your local go-to car wash, offering top quality service with a personal touch. Their monthly membership plans make it easy and affordable to keep your car looking its best all year round. Wahoo's Express Car Wash has advanced equipment and an experienced team to ensure every vehicle leaves sparkling clean. Committed to fast, friendly service and spotless results every time. Come see the difference at Wahoo's Express Car Wash, intersection of Michigan Avenue and 23rd Street.
Visit the newly remodeled Mid-South Lumber Hardware and Feed Store in Youngstown. They have a full line of plumbing, electrical, hardware, and tools for your DIY home projects, as well as lumber and animal feed. Now offering not only baby chicks and a full line of poultry supplies, but also bunnies and parakeets. They also carry a wide selection of Duplin wines and gourmet products so you don't have to drive to the beach. Come see us at Mid-South Lumber on Highway 231 in Youngstown.
Now back to the Inside Drive, live and local from the Gulf Plus studios. Join the Best of Pay winning Inside Drive with all your lines, props, and covers. Winning on ESPN Northwest Florida.
Sky rockets in flight. Afternoon delight.
And that's why he's the best in the biz, ladies and gentlemen. Keying up the Afternoon Delight debrief, not just during noon. We're going to do it here in our final segment on this wonderful Wednesday afternoon. Chef Ross, appreciate you hanging out with me. And I think we're going to be hanging out on Wednesdays going forward, right?
Sounds like it.
Awesome. Looking forward to that. Having somebody else inside the glass with me is always a good time. I'm going to start with this one to keep everybody on their toes. If you're a guinea pig owner, do not go to Switzerland. Switzerland made it illegal to own just one guinea pig.
Finally.
Yeah, right? Because guinea pigs get lonely. In Switzerland, keeping...
So that's how you...
In Switzerland, keeping just one guinea pig is illegal and viewed as animal cruelty. Since 2008, the law has mandated that these social animals be housed in pairs or groups, acknowledging acknowledging, that loneliness can cause significant mental suffering. The legislation is part of Switzerland's wider commitment to safeguarding animals' emotional well-being alongside their physical health. It highlights the importance of companionship for social species like guinea pigs, treating emotional care as equally as vital as food and shelter. Fun fact there.
So if I buy 2 guinea pigs from the pet store,
you could take them to Switzerland.
I can take them to Switzerland.
But if you only buy one...
Hold on. Let me finish this story. This is a long Drew Gorman type question. So if I buy 2 and then take them to Switzerland and one of the 2 dies, am I in trouble then?
Ooh.
Because I did purchase 2.
Just rush down, call an ambulance, go to the pet store, get a guinea pig. Actually, this is kind of cool. We learned this from Noah's Ark, right?
Yeah.
Like 2, at bare minimum 2. I do like this.
I still don't see why I Noah put 2 skeeters on that boat, but still.
Yeah.
I've always kind of wondered about that. Was there 2 mosquitoes on the boat? Because they got, you know what I mean? Like, who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But regardless, they are alive and well today.
They're thriving today.
The C-130 is going to be flying around later on today, spraying, but that's just mainly over Tyndall. So if you hear the C-130 making some turns, that's why they're doing some mosquitoes.
I'm going on my first jog of the year tonight, and I'm just going to be following behind the plane.
They say it's not toxic.
Yeah, that's what I read.
They say.
Yeah.
But,
and then some dude got tagged in there like Mosquito Mike or something like that, which then made me click on his profile like, I wonder if Ryan would like to have this guy on as a guest.
Well,
Is he the mosquito commissioner?
I dealt with the mosquito authority when I was, working at Bay Point all the time because they would come out and spray, and you have to schedule it and all that stuff. But anyway, I had a guinea pig growing up, and I only had one. So now I feel
poor guinea pig.
Sebastian, he was my guinea pig, and he ended up passing away, probably from loneliness.
That is Ryan Mulvey, care of Inside Drive ESPN.
PETA, don't come after me. I didn't know that they needed to be in pairs.
See, it's kind of wild.
It makes sense because all animals want to be with somebody else.
Well, I never had a guinea pig, had a pet hamster, and I kind of figured that they liked their loneliness or something because whenever they'd have babies, they would just eat them suckers. So
and they would get after it pretty quick. That's for sure.
Like you touch that little baby hair, gobble gobble gobble. That's it. Don't touch your baby hamsters.
That's right. That is right.
I got a story. It's not really an afternoon delight, but it's a very heartwarming story here. It's titled like 41. So in the Bible, it rained for 40 days and 40 nights. Day 41 came and the rain stopped. Moses committed murder and hid in the desert for 40 years. Year 41 came and God called him to help rescue Israel. Moses went up to the mountain for 40 days. On day 41, he received the 10 Commandments. The Israelites wandered in the wilderness for 40 years. Year 41, they walked into the Promised Land. Goliath taunted Israel for 40 days. Day 41 came and David slew him. Jonah preached the message to repent to Nineveh for 40 days. On day 41, God stopped his plan to destroy them. Jesus fasted and was tempted for 40 days. Day 41, the devil fled. After his resurrection, Jesus appeared to his disciples for 40 days. On day 41, he ascended into heaven. All this is to say, don't quit. The rain will stop, the giants will fall, and you will enter your promised land. Don't give up at 40. 41 is coming.
I like it. There you go. My story following that is going to be a little interesting.
It's like he came up to the tee box and just knocked your tee down.
Yeah,
I should have prefaced that. Sorry.
No, it's okay. I love it. But what to know about Alligator Alcatraz, Florida's immigration detention site in the Everglades?
If you name it Alligator Alcatraz.
Yeah. This is from WJHG.
We went from the Lion's Den to the Gator Swamp, baby.
That's right.
I kind of want to visit Alligator Alcatraz.
I mean, I wonder if they'll do tours like they do at the real Alcatraz. But the real Alcatraz is obviously not functional and up and running. But anyway, this is from WJHG. They picked it up from the AP. From Tallahassee, Florida, an immigration detention facility located at an isolated Everglades airfield surrounded by mosquito, python, and alligator-filled swamplands is just days away from being operational, federal officials said Tuesday. Federal officials are racing ahead with the construction of what they dubbed Alligator Alcatraz to help carry out President Donald Trump's mass deportation agenda. This is not political by any stretch of the imagination. It's just called Alligator Alcatraz, so it's pretty funny. Working to build a compound of heavy-duty tents, trailers, and temporary buildings similar to sites used during national disasters. The construction of the facility in the remote and ecological sensitive wetland about 45 miles west of downtown Miami is alarming human rights advocates and environmentalists. State officials say that the installation is critical to support the federal government's immigration enforcement agenda. Florida Attorney General James Altmaier, a former chief of staff for Republican Governor Ron DeSantis and a key architect of the state's aggressive immigration enforcement campaign, has said harsh conditions surrounding the far-flung airstrip and its nearly 10,500-foot runway make it an ideal location to house and transport migrants. We don't need to build a lot of brick and mortar, Altmaier said in an interview, Uthmaier, in an interview with conservative media commentator Benny Johnson, and thankfully, Mother Nature does a lot on the perimeter. There's really nowhere to go. If you're housed there, if you're detained there, there's no way in, no way out, Uthmaier said. Construction of the site is part of the state's plan to operationalize 5,000 immigration detention beds by early July across a number of other facilities, according to Uthmaier. The plan is back in the U.S. Department of Homeland has the backing of the U.S. Department of Homeland Security, which has called the facility innovative and cost-effective. Alligator Alcatraz. Interesting stuff. All right, we'll pop back to a more happy thing, an interesting thing. In a historic medical breakthrough, surgeons at Baylor St. Luke's Medical Center in Houston successfully carried out the nation's first fully robotic heart transplant without opening the chest or cutting through the breastbone. The patient, a 45-year-old man suffering from advanced heart failure, underwent the innovative procedure using a robotic system that accessed the heart through small incisions in the peritoneal space, which is right below the breastbone, but before all your organs there in your stomach and esophagus and all that good stuff. The approach allowed surgeons to remove the diseased heart and implant a donor organ without the trauma associated with a traditional open heart surgery. Led by Dr. Kenneth Liao, the minimally invasive technique resulted in reduced blood loss, a lower risk of infection, and a faster recovery. The patient was released from the hospital 1 month later with no complications. There you go. You don't have to have the old anymore if you trust a robot.
Yeah. Which I guess, do you get the option of like choosing?
I would imagine he would have had to sign consent, and this was an optional thing for him. I mean, given he was the first one to ever have it done.
Would you prefer robot or surgeon's hands?
That's a great question. Most of the surgeons nowadays use the robotic stuff. That's a great question. I don't know. I don't really know what they did inside my brain, whether it was just a neurosurgeon or he was using like robotic gamma knives or anything like that. But I
don't think you want to know either.
Yeah, I just trusted the process and
just knocked me out.
The first time went good, the second time went good.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
Here we are now.
Knocked me out, and one of two things has happened: waking up or meeting Jesus.
Yeah, I was actually very lucky because a lot of people that have some kind of brain surgery are actually conscious during that surgery.
Oh.
Yeah. Which is, I mean, obviously they put in a spinal block and all that stuff, but
I can't even imagine like the thought of hearing a sound of something slicing in my brain.
Yeah, that was if they said that, I would have been like, no, I need you. Well, and it's also, that's more driven where it's located in the brain, because there's a lot of stuff, obviously, in the brain that's very important. We've made it all the way to the end of this Wednesday show. Afternoon Underdogs coming up at 4, followed by your Atlanta Braves. First pitch at 6:10. Y'all have a great rest of your Wednesday, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Mornings on ESPN Northwest Florida just got unsportsmanlike.
The Kevin Durant